Why hello, and welcome back to Car Juice. Today we're going to be going over the 2024 BMW 540 Xi. It's not exactly called an Xi anymore, but it's the X-Drive, 540i X-Drive. The all-new 2024 model is officially here, featuring 375 horsepower, and this car happens to be exactly how I would spec this vehicle out myself as a BMW client advisor. I've been selling BMWs here in Cincinnati, Ohio for almost 5 years now and have sold almost 500 BMWs in my experience here. So on this Car Juice channel, I have decided to give you guys the squeeze on multiple different vehicles. This specific 540 is spec'd out at $80,245. As you can see, it is quite loaded out, namely with a pretty rare option, the black/Atlas gray merino leather, which is probably one of my favorite options this car has. It also has the luxury seating package and the M Sport package. The M Sport package is almost invaluable, and also the premium package, you know, that's kind of just what makes it feel like a BMW. And then you have the M Sport package Professional, which is kind of more or less just a money grab from BMW. However, that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into the video. So the BMW 5 Series is all new. They redesigned the entire car for 2024, and it's going to be the same for the 2025. So if you're watching this in the future, you're probably going to be able to find most of the information that you need to have already from this video. Let's go ahead and start off from the front of this car. So with the M Sport package Professional, which is that upcharge from BMW on the M Sport package, which gets you this more aggressive front grille, more aggressive front bumper, and then also these blacked out headlights. You can upgrade the M Sport package Professional to have this illuminated kidney grille. It's also going to let you have some really cool brake calipers as well as better wheel choices. The wheels on this car are 20-inch wheels, 245s on the front, as well as 245s on the rear, so it is that square setup that we're all looking for. And these are the best wheels that you can get on the 540 in my opinion. You also get the red brake calipers by upgrading to that M Sport package Professional as well, so kind of just one of those nice things you can add in. This vehicle is furnished in black sapphire metallic, so it's the typical black on black BMW look that a lot of people like, and if you work in the industry, you probably are going to know that most people love having black on black BMWs. I actually misspoke. You've got two 75s here in the rear, so I'm sorry about that. And then the headlights, those being black, they're also cornering headlights. That's what I was wanting to touch on. But as we're already in the back of the car, you also have LED taillights in the rear too. They have this really cool animation that kicks on whenever you open up the vehicle or unlock and lock it, so it kind of glows to life. And BMW has been doing a lot of cool stuff with their taillights recently. You have a power open and power close trunk that can be used with the kick feature as well. And then in this car, you'll actually find that it features a full-size spare tire. So this car, BMW has decided to finally make their deluge away from the traditional run flat tires we've been using since 2006, and they started putting non-run flat tires on our cars again, as they're better for the environment, and they also are just generally a little bit smoother and easier to ride. These 20-inch wheels, they were a little bit noisy on the highway and on the roads just coming up here to my house to review the car, but they aren't overall bad, and they do drive a lot smoother, especially when the car's in comfort mode. As we have the trunk open, as you guys know, I always like to do the cargo road versus cargo space test. Cargo road, very good. Cargo space, also pretty solid. Because of the fact they have added in this spare tire, which you can't get on the EV models, you do lose a bit of space here in the trunk. However, they make it very easy so that you don't have to lose a lot of that space permanently. All of this foam here is actually completely removable, and it will make it so that your trunk is actually about I would say probably about 3 inches lower. So, you know, if you'd have a big item that you're carrying or something like that, you can still add that extra space in by removing that tray here in the bottom, and you'll be able to level it out just fine. However, though, in regards to the golf bag test, these rear seats do fold down. So if you have a limited amount of friends and you don't need to use the back seat whenever you're golfing, you can definitely fit 2 sets of clubs back here. Very easy for any of your very important businessman activities that you may be using if you're looking at an $80,000 BMW. I'm going to touch a little bit more here on the back seat of this car, as this is actually probably one of my favorite features on the vehicle. This tuxedo leather finish. Even on the Vaganza trims, as well as on the merino leather trims, you have this tuxedo trim finish with a two-tone approach to all of the interior materials in this car. It looks quite nice. You also have two USB-Cs in the center, as well as two heated seat buttons on either side, and two more USB-Cs on the back of each seat on the front seat. So this passenger side, I went ahead and moved it all the way back, and with a short young lad standing at approximately 5'8" here in the back of the car, you have a minuscule, probably inch or so of legroom. Not so great. However, if you are sitting behind a short young lad and are interested in having a reasonable amount of space, you will have plenty of legroom. I would say a maximum, this is like capping out the finger test, but I would say this is probably about 7 or 8 inches or so of legroom in the back of this car. So if you're tall, you're probably gonna be fine. As a normal 6-foot person, you probably have about 4 to 8 inches or so of legroom. And then headroom, plenty ample. I'd probably say that's also about 4 to 4.5 inches or so. Plenty of room. All right. While we're in the back seat of the car, though, I do want to point out the Harman Kardon audio system that is now standard on the 5 Series. It sounds pretty good. However, the mids are a little bit flat compared to the previous generation. I solved this by turning up the treble on the sound mixer and turning down the bass, as the bass profile is probably the most aggressive in this car of any other 5 Series or BMW that I've ever driven. On my 530 review, I absolutely dogged on the 5 Series for having not such a great sound system with the bass, but I hadn't quite figured out how to tune it yet. But honestly, the sound system is pretty fine. Under the hood, you will find the same B58 that BMW uses in all of our other 6-cylinder vehicles. It's a very reliable engine, now making 375 horsepower, and is also equipped with a mild hybrid system, meaning that this car can stop and go without having a lot of cacophonous energy, where the vehicle will feel like it's kind of shaking and shuddering as it starts and stops. And the 0 to 60 time is very respectable at 4.5 seconds. Pretty darn good for a family SUV, or family sedan, I mean. And then fuel economy is actually really good too. Believe it or not, even our X5 gets around 25 miles per gallon combined. This one actually, though, however, gets 28 miles per gallon. Almost a very respectable drop from where the 530 is at, as I think that's still like only 30 miles per gallon. But out of a 6-cylinder to get this kind of MPG is actually really cool. And again, that's mostly due to the 48-volt mild hybrid technology and the very smooth ZF 8-speed transmission. The interior in the 540 is quite beautiful. This has the same crystal type image of the LEDs with the 17 different colors on the entire interior. It looks quite nice and can be set to a myriad of different colors. Also, the door pulls feel very high quality, and you don't feel like you're kind of feeling like you're about to break the car. When you close the door, it's very sturdy, and then the door handles are actually like 9 out of 10. They are so friggin' good. However, what is not so good, I don't like how you have kind of a mix match of different materials. The Harman Kardon logo in the back of the car looks so much better than in the front. I would have liked to see that be some type of silver or something along those lines, just so it's smooth. And then the biggest gripe I have of this entire car, when I was driving it here, this stupid aluminum mesh trim actually made it so I couldn't see out of my driver's side mirror, which is just completely unrespectful. Like, you can't even begin to quantify for that whenever you're looking at an $80,000 car. But, you know, you do have a really nice steering wheel with this beautiful flat bottom, and then you also can option this with the Driving Assistance Professional package to allow this thing to completely drive for you at up to 85 miles an hour. And it actually even uses these 3 sensors on either side here to monitor my eye position, so that while I'm driving on the interstate, it knows that I'm paying attention. And what's so cool, and I unfortunately don't have time to demonstrate it in this video, you can actually change lanes just by looking in your different mirrors between the interior camera that's on the roof of the car, and it also uses the other radar sensors to adjust for that as well. But it will actually change lanes for me if I have my navigation guidance going, and it knows when my next exit's going to be. It has to be in BMW's navigation system. It can't be Apple CarPlay or Google Maps. This does support both wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, thankfully. But just something very cool if you guys are in the market for one of these that you might want to know before you start to go in and test drive. They have gotten rid of the amazing 14-way adjustable seats. These seats aren't nearly as adjustable as they used to be, unfortunately. However, you still do have access to ventilation, heating, and heated steering wheel on both sides of the cabin, and then you can get those rear heated seats, which are quite nice in the winter months as well. But no more massaging seats. Like, it's also very frustrating too. You have to adjust the seats through the dashboard. So if I want to move my side bolsters in, I have to tie them in from the dash. And then also for the depth angle, so I can extend out my leg rest, you also have to use that with the screen now. It's just frustrating. It's not as adjustable as it used to be. Everything is still power and still very nice. It's just whenever I'm spending this kind of money on a car, the car should be able to have massaging seats. It's just wild. The materials on the car are excellent. They are so good. Like, it's just, they cut corners in the dumbest spots. The dashboard materials feel very high quality. They feel like real leather. They're all soft touch. The roof liner isn't soft touch. It actually feels a little bit cheap, but you still do have a working sunroof as long as you don't option for the Sky Lounge package. That is the best $1,000 that you can save whenever you're getting on one of these 5 Series, as the Sky Lounge is not an operable sunroof. It defeats the point of even having a sunroof, so don't spend your money on that. Save the $1,000 and just trust me on this one. iDrive 8.5 works really, really well. We're not going to get into that too much in this video because that would take all day. However, we are pretty much done with the in-car portion of the tour. I'm just gonna back this thing out of my, or pull this thing out of my driveway, and we're gonna take this thing on a little bit of a drive. The cameras on the vehicle are 4K, and they're super high resolution, and it makes it very easy to see what's going on in the car. But please hold here as I place you guys on the window and we take off on a drive. So in the driver's seat of the 540, you're just very, very welcomed. Everything about this car is just really good. Like, honestly, and I know I say that a lot whenever I'm in a lot of cars, because just like generally just cars are just pretty good nowadays. They don't make a lot of just cars that are just things just to, I don't know, they don't make cars where everything is just cheap like they used to. Generally, cars are just pretty okay, and there are just a couple of cars that usually have a handful of things that are completely exceptional about them. For example, with the 540, I would say that this one's one thing is handling. Like, this car handles so darn good for how big it is. They're talking about the new M5 is going to be like a 72 to 7,300 pound, I think, monster, and I'm like not that worried about it based off of how the 540 handles, and the 530 even. Like, this car is so good at moving and operating in a dynamic way. Like, it just puts down and uses every ounce of the 375 horsepower extremely well. It's also faster than the last gen 540. I think the last gen 540 was like a 4.6 second 0 to 60 versus this one's at that 4.5. So it's just a hair better, and the interior cabin is very quiet. It's very comforting in here, and then you've got that nice flat bottom steering wheel that we mentioned earlier that can help out with that driving assistance professional package whenever you have to leave your hands on the steering wheel for any long period of time. The paddle shifters are probably some of the worst paddle shifters that BMW has ever put out. Like, the last gen BMW X2, hands down, way better paddle shifters than this thing could even dream of. It's very, very frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't have it all sometimes. It also does have this cool like little midpoint mark for the steering wheel, which is quite nice. So it's cool. You can also, I finally figured out with iDrive 8.5 that you can customize Sport Plus to have MDM mode automatically enabled for the traction control, which just makes this thing handle that much better. The body roll, it's got adaptive M suspension, so the body roll is quickly dampened out by those adaptive dampers. So the handling profile, cornering, those sort of things is really nice. It's not like you're gonna be taking this thing as a canyon carver, so don't get that impression, but it drives like a luxurious M340 of the previous generation. The cabin is very quiet on the inside, so it doesn't do a phenomenal job of kind of redirecting a lot of that gravitas that you have whenever you're driving one of these more luxurious and sporty kind of vehicles, but that's because it's not necessarily supposed to. It's got those like great soft touch materials everywhere. It's got a good quality sound system that you want to listen to. I will say, though, the iDrive controller is a little bit annoying to use on the new 5 Series. It's a lot thinner than what it was on the old cars, and it's also a little bit bigger, making it harder to control everything you want to with the iDrive without having to take your hands off the wheel. A general theme that BMW just kind of seems to be going towards right now, especially with the X1, X2, which I've done a video on as well, that don't even feature a way to control the climate control and all those sort of things without having to use the very cumbersome touchscreen system. I will say, as far as the driving dynamics go, that ZF 8-speed downshifts very aggressively. The transmission doesn't shift quite as percussively as I would like, but again, this isn't a ripper for like the back roads and things like that. It's just a nice, just plenty fast car that you'd take your family to dinner in, take the kids to soccer practice in. And if you were to get a write-off from your business for having a company car, this is a good car to do that with. It gets great fuel economy. It's just quiet. It's nice. And speaking of quiet and other sounds, I would like to point out the ambient, iconic sounds that that BMW offers. Right now, they're off. And it doesn't sound bad. You can kind of hear just enough. I mean, about what you'd honestly expect on a vehicle of this caliber. But I would like to, here, let me quickly show you. It's iDrive 8.5 is really easy once you get to know where things are. So that's with iconic sounds turned on, meaning that there is piped in audio coming into the car. But once you turn it off, the cabin quiets down even a little bit more. And I think that they should have just left it at that and maybe added a slightly louder exhaust on the car, like how the X6 comes with a M Sport exhaust whenever you option the M Sport package now, or the whenever you just get the not the X6, the X5. The X5 options an M Sport type exhaust whenever you get that car. So they should have just added in a little bit of extra noise through the exhaust and taken out some of the dampening that's under maybe the driver's seat and the passenger seat to allow some of a more engaging and nice driver feel. No double pane glass on the interior of the car, which is, I think, is fine in this vehicle. And then all of the fit and finish, even when you push on things that shouldn't be pushed on, there's literally, like, that's the first crack I've heard on the entire car. But, like, everything is well built. It's cool. The only gripe of the interior is honestly the paddle shifters. The steering wheel's a little bit too fat for my hands to grab, which I have pretty decent sized hands. So, like, yeah, steering wheel's good, and then I really like all of the different functionality that you can have with the iDrive, or not the iDrive screen, with the control display in front of you, just using the steering wheel. It makes the driving a lot safer, so you're not looking over at this beautiful big 21.5-inch screen here on the passenger side, but it just kind of puts everything right where it needs to be. So yeah, I mean, overall, 540 still the best value for your money in the 5 Series lineup. Is it still the bargain leader that it was in the previous generation? I say bargain with a very loose term. You could previously get a 5 Series, like a 540, for $74,000 equipped similarly. I don't think that this car is maybe quite as good in an objective sense as the last one was from a value proposition standpoint, but is it a better car? I would say so in most areas. The drive is smoother, the chassis is more dynamic, and overall, it's just got really great technology. It has lost a lot of those things with those seats, and with even some of the exhaust noise, it's not as loud and it's not as noticeable as it once was. So, you know, with those things in mind, would I still recommend that you get a 540? Yes, especially if you're a business person. That is what this car has always been designed for. It's what it should stay as. If you're a dude who just likes to drive fast and enjoys a nice value for your money, the M340, especially with the new kind of iDrive 8.5 operating system that it got last year, is still a tremendous value. And I don't think that it's something that should be overlooked, especially when you can save about $10,000 excuse me, $10,000 and still get the adaptive M suspension, still get the B58 engine, and overall just have a great car. But yeah, without further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video.